I'm often billed as Whatculture's go-to Star Wars guy, but hey, we're all human, I'm no fountain of knowledge, I get stuff wrong sometimes, but guess what? So do you! With a franchise as far-reaching and long-running as Star Wars, there are plenty of misconceptions, urban legends, and outright falsehoods floating around amongst both the casual viewers, like your Uncle Mike, who isn't even sure which episodes he's seen, and the dorky superfans, like me, I guess. So, listen up and listen good. Next time you hear your friends spouting off some false factoid about Han Solo, you'll be able to shut them up with the hard-hitting reality of the situation, and they'll be really, really impressed and definitely won't think you're a sad know-it-all. Talking of which, I'm Peter from Whatculture.com, and here are 10 Star Wars facts that everyone gets wrong. Number 10. The Stormtroopers had terrible aim in A New Hope. Except, of course, they didn't. Now, first off, I have mentioned in the past that I firmly back the notion of stormtroopers being terrible shots in general, and I stand by that today. However, many people don't realise that in the Death Star sequences of A New Hope, they're missing deliberately. This is even referenced at some length after our heroes escape aboard the Falcon, with Leia insisting their escape was too easy and the Empire had clearly let them go so they could track their route to the hidden Rebel base. However, the Stormtroopers' notoriously awful marksmanship in episodes 5 and 6 means that their, frankly, impressive acting skills aboard the Death Star in episode 4 are wrongly remembered as, well, more awful marksmanship. Number 9. Coruscant's first appearance was in The Phantom Menace. Wrong! For starters, the notion of a planet-sized city was in some of Lucas's earliest drafts for the first movie as the potential homeworld of the Emperor. Subsequently, this planet became Coruscant way back in the early 1990s for Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy, a landmark expanded universe story where the New Republic was seen setting up a home on the former Imperial capital. But bleh, books? Boring. Am I right, guys? I'm not right. The expanded universe is genuinely brilliant more often than not. But hey, I'll satiate those among you who were expecting me to say it was in a movie before The Phantom Menace, because it was! Did you know that the galactic Big Smoke Coruscant actually first appeared on the silver screen in the 1997 special edition edit of Return of the Jedi during the galaxy-wide celebration sequence? The fact that this shot of the Theed Street Party wasn't added until the 2004 DVD release leads many people to think that this is when Coruscant got its original trilogy moment too. But no, this shot is in fact a whole 3 years older than Episode 1. How about that? Number 8. Original trilogy C-3PO is gold. Boo! Cried so-called Star Wars fans upon the release of The Force Awakens as they were hit with the realization that 3PO's gold arm had been replaced with a red one. Grrr, they shouted. Threeps can't have a mismatched limb, he looks ridiculous, what have they done to him? Well, shut up. 3PO can have a mismatched limb because 3PO always did have a mismatched limb. Gold leg, silver leg. Suck it. Number 7. The prequels were fleshed out after Return of the Jedi. While some elements of the prequels, including Jar Jar Binks and the Samuel L. Jackson stunt casting, were obviously conceived a good 10 years after the original trilogy had rolled out, you'd be wrong to think that Lucas had only thought up the bare bones of the prequel trilogy back in the 1980s. It goes without saying, of course, that a lot of the general narrative features pretty much wrote themselves as they developed in the original movies, including Anakin's turn to the dark side, the birth of the twins, the Emperor's rise to power, even the Clone Wars, which is referenced by Ben Kenobi. But the amazing thing is, dozens of specific details were actually worked out all that time ago too. C-3PO was always built by a child working for a junk dealer. The Emperor always overthrew the Republic using trade laws. Heck, even references to midi-chlorians actually come from Lucas's very earliest plans for the wider saga, written in the immediate aftermath of Episode 4's phenomenal release. The more you know. Number 6. The alien languages are all made up. Okay, this one is actually really interesting. Now, it's already widely known that the Star Wars dialects are loosely rooted in the phonemes of real languages, such as the Jawas spouting a garbled mess of Zulu-inspired sounds, but you probably don't know that a select few lines of dialogue in the original trilogy are more than just corrupted imitations. A few Tatooinean inhabitants, for example, throw out phrases from the entirely real Quechian family of languages as used in South America by over 9 million native speakers. Greedo's line, "Lucky I found you first," contains the word Chaskanyawi, which means messy eyelashes, while the Jedi rock song features the words Imata Amunanki, which means top banana. No, it doesn't. It means what do you want? Not good enough for you? Alright then, how about the fact that the Ewoks, no word of a lie, deliver several of their lines in coherent Tibetan, including one that translates as, "There is lots of money here, there is lots of money here." Now don't say I don't teach you anything. Number 5. Jedi Knights are sworn to celibacy. This fallacy is based on 2 component parts. Number 1, Jedi are essentially magical sword-wielding space monks, and monks are celibate, right? That's just fact. And number 2, Annie and Padme spend all their time sneaking around, hiding their pregnancy, kissing in the shadows, insert cheap joke about sand here. So surely, this is proof of Jedi abstinence. And yeah, sure, Anakin absolutely should not be falling madly in love with this woman 5 years his senior, with the sexy torn shirt and the slightly dodgy moral compass that allows her to conceive twins with a man who admitted to slaughtering baby Tuscans a whole film earlier. However, it's specifically this love and attachment that Anakin is trying to keep quiet, because George Lucas has stated in a BBC interview that Jedi are merely forbidden from forming intimate attachments. There is absolutely nothing that prevents them from having casual, meaningless sex with someone they don't love, which is good or bad, I guess? I don't know. Your move, Catholic Church. Number 4, 12 parsecs makes no sense. A parsec is a measure of distance, not time. The notion of being able to make the so-called Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, therefore, is apparently a big continuity mistake, right? Well, for starters, even that is a long and almost unanswerable debate. It seems at first sight that it was just a genuine boo-boo on the part of George Lucas's scriptwriting skills for sure. But then the 4th draft of Star Wars actually features a bemused look from Obi-Wan, who decides that Solo is just overselling his ship by trying to bamboozle the pair with senseless space terminology that doesn't work in the context. Mistake or not though, the line that did indeed go out in the final version of the film has actually been given some genuine contextual meaning in the expanded universe, so it does indeed make some sense now. The Kessel Run isn't actually a conventional A to B direct trade route, but a smuggler's hyperlane used to avoid Imperial ships by going close to a cluster of black holes called the Maw. It's conventionally 18 parsecs, but thanks to Han's savvy piloting skills and the Millennium Falcon's fast engine, he's able to go in closer to the dangerous gravitational forces of the Maw, and thus shave off over 6 parsecs from the standard distance travelled. Oh, she's fast enough for you, old man. Number 3, Han Solo was almost killed off in Episode 6. No, he wasn't. While both Harrison Ford and writer Lawrence Kasdan were huge proponents of this idea and still talk about it on chat shows today, the fact is, Lucas was having none of it from the word go. He never even entertained the idea. True, there is some reason to believe that one of the reasons he froze Solo in Carbonite in Episode 5 is that he was unsure if Harrison Ford would even come back for another movie, but once he was signed up for 6, old George had absolutely no intention of reviving the character only to bump him off again. Frankly, Han Solo was just too popular and too marketable to be killed off, and the film was always intended to be kept relatively light in tone. Number 2, Episode 6 was originally called Revenge of the Jedi. No, it was not. This is one that will even blow the minds of some pretty dedicated fans out there. Will tell you that Lucas only changed the name of Episode 6 to Return of the Jedi at the very last minute because he decided that revenge was a word that didn't really fit with the peaceful Jedi doctrine. But that is only half correct. Sure, for a long time the film was indeed being marketed as Revenge rather than Return, and the change was made to suit the goody two-shoes nature of the Jedi Order, but the truth is, the original title was always Return of the Jedi. According to the Empire of Dreams documentary about the making of the original trilogy, the screenplay, which was co-written by Lawrence Kasdan, was based on a narrative that George Lucas had already sketched out under the name Return of the Jedi since day one. Kasdan claims he told Lucas that Return of the Jedi was, quote, a weak title, causing Lucas to change it to Revenge of the Jedi before he ultimately took a complete U-turn only weeks before release. So, though it might sound pedantic, you can now shoot down your Star Warsy friends when they tell you that Episode 6 was, quote, originally called Revenge of the Jedi. The truth is, it started life as Return, went through a slightly grungy revenge phase in its adolescence, but then emerged in full form as Return again in 1983. And number 1, Luke, I am your father. It's utterly amazing how one of cinema's most quoted lines can also be the single most misquoted line of all time. Grab your phone right now and ask your dad what Vader says in this scene. Ask your sister, ask your brother, ask your best friend. An inordinate number of people will tell you what they've been saying for years. Luke, I am your father. But that is simply wrong. And now you can send them straight to this video and blow their tiny minds with the news that they should have in fact been saying,
No, I am your father.
Okay, it's a subtle difference, but come on, it's the biggest twist in cinema and one of the most widely recognised pop culture references of all time, so everyone should be getting the line right. In fact, it's high time it was on the national curriculum. It's probably something that I've been getting wrong all these years, so let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can go to Whatculture.com for all your lists, news, and articles about Star Wars and other stuff, and you can follow Whatculture on Twitter here. I'm Peter from Whatculture.com, and I'll see you soon.